Right, this video is going to be called Lessons Learned. Okay. Now, when I tested my bug out bag for an overnighter and a little series just before this video, I watched back the footage and when I was editing it, and I thought, right, I better start making a list of things that I feel needs improving. Okay. The whole reason behind that video was for me to go out there to test out myself and my kit in, you know, a bit of rain, and that's all it was. But you know, I'm glad I did, because as you notice yourself, there was a few things which didn't really go to plan. So I've made a list, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to share what I've wrote down on this list for any of you guys who watch the videos. Tell me what you've thought about what needs improving. Some of it might even be included in what I'm going to say on this list. Now, this isn't in any particular order, I just wrote them down from memory. Okay, so the first thing I felt needed improving was camouflage the shelter better. So for what you remember, I got to camp, I set my shelter up, then I went for a walk to get some firewood and to see if there's anybody else around, like a perimeter check. What I should have done was go a distance away and look back at the shelter to see if it stood out or not. I failed to do that, so I need to do that in future. So that is an important lesson, very important lesson. Okay, don't be too hasty. Now, before I get into what's on this list, I've just got to say this. Okay, I was away from my house for exactly 24 hours doing that video. I probably filmed out 3.5 hours of footage and editing it down to about 2 hours. Now, actually doing that overnight without filming would have given me more time to do certain things. Okay, what a lot of you might not understand, if you haven't done videos, it does take a lot of time. Okay, moving the camera, setting it up, making sure the light's right, sitting back down, making sure you're in shot, all of these sorts of things. And of course, you know, we're only human and we make mistakes, and we have to record a certain bit again and again and again, and it all takes time, leaving you less time to actually do what's needed to be done. So I thought I'd just say that now. Okay, because you know, to do everything in the ideal world, in the perfect scenario, without filming, it still would have been a tall order in 24 hours. So to cam the shelter better. Now, if that was a real situation, what I would have probably done was to go off not too far away to find another holly bush, because that was what was screening my background for my shelter, and saw off loads of big holly branches and put a screen right across the front of my shelter. Now, I don't like cutting down greenwood. Okay, I would have only done that in a proper survival scenario. Okay, for a video, it's no real need for me to do that. So to camouflage it properly would have taken a lot of time, and as I said, it's just going to eat into the time that I had available to make the video. But you know, definitely, if that was a real situation, I would have definitely needed to remember to do that, should I say. Okay, and set the shelter higher. Now, when I set the shelter up to that height, at first I thought it seems a bit low, but it's probably the same as what I was taught when I was in the reserves years ago, about that height. But what I have to sort of remind myself is I'm 25 years older now than what I used to do back then. And you know, I'm a bit lighter as well, you know, maybe 5 stone light, heavier, should I say. So it does make it quite tricky moving around underneath that low profile shelter. Most of everything I'd done was on my back, and you know, my back's not that great, and I did suffer a bit, and it did take quite a long time to manoeuvre around and etc. Okay, especially to get things filmed under there, it's a basic impossibility, right? So next time, bearing in mind that I'm not 19, 20 years old anymore, I'm not 9.5 stone anymore with a 28-inch waist, I'm going to set the shelter higher so I can actually sit up inside it. Okay, as I say, all of it was done laying on my back, and it was a pain. So yeah, next time I will be doing that. May be a good idea to include the 3D camouflage suit. Now, I did show that on another training video when I was in the New Forest. Excuse me. And it was quite effective. It rolls up to a small size, probably the size of a coconut if you can really compress it down, and it doesn't weigh that much. So, you know, when we're going around getting firewood and you don't want to be seen, rather than put camouflage cream all over your face, all over your hands, put a net over yourself, just put a suit on. It's very light, very quick, and very easy to use. Okay, so that might be worth putting in a bucket bag. Okay, and obviously for hunting, you know, if you had to do it for real and you had no food and you had to snare animals, which I'm not a big fan of snaring animals. I would only do that in a survival situation. Okay, I don't even feel like I want to do one for training. Okay, so, you know, for hunting, I think the camo suit's great for stalking, etc. So yeah, that's a good possibility. It might go in the bag. The Esbit fuel. Now, I was given some Esbit fuel by a friend of mine, and he did say it was damp. It might be a bit of a pain to light, but it was. I found it was a nightmare to light when I was outside my shed. So with that known now, I didn't know that at the time when I packed the bag. Okay, Esbit does suffer when it's damp. Okay, so with that in mind, it's going out the bag. Simple as that. It's pure and simple. What you don't want to do is to have any kit in your bag which could fail. Okay, anything that could fail because I don't know, it's cheap, it's poorly made, it's damp, or whatever. Omit it. Okay, just take it out of your kit. For me, Hexi blocks have always been close to my heart, and I've used them for years, and they've never really let me down. Okay, they might soot up your pan, they might smell a little bit, and you can't light them for firewood, but for cooking food and in bad weather, they're really good. They're up there with the best, and they're very cheap. Okay, you can get 8 blocks for £1. All right, so it's a no-brainer. So I'm definitely going to be putting Hexi blocks in my bag over Esbit fuel. All right, so that's a big lesson learned for me. And speaking of fuel, the Fire Dragon blocks. Now, when I've done the test before a long time ago, I'd done a boil test in this very shed, and it was fine. But conditions outside with the wind, and it was sheltered a bit under the basher, it still wasn't enough. So that either means I'm going to have to manufacture some sort of wind screen to go around the stove and some of the cup when I'm cooking, you know, which means more weight, more room, etc. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to do about the Fire Dragon. I might just chuck 1 or 2 in there for emergencies, because cooking with Fire Dragon, I don't think is a good idea. Starting fires with Fire Dragon is an excellent idea. Okay, now you can get any fire going in torrential rain whilst it's still raining with a ferro rod and any of the Fire Dragon products. That'd be the block and the gel. Okay, it's proven it really does work, and I think a lot of other fire blocks or fuel blocks will struggle to compete with that. So for that reason alone, I'm going to keep 1 or 2 of them blocks in the bag. All right, but for cooking food, big no-no. Definitely not for me. All right. So add a windproof lighter. Now, a lot of you guys who've watched my channel over the years, a long time ago now, I got one of those cheap little. It's like a Webtex turbo flame lighter. Only works with good quality fuel. Okay, so don't try and scrimp out and put cheap stuff, because it won't work. It'll block up the jets and it'll fail. All right. But the big size Newport purified butane gas, now 1 can of that lasts an absolute age. It really does. Okay, so okay, it's a lot of money, but I've used it a hell of a lot, and I've only used 1/4 of a can, and that's over about 3 years. All right, so it's going to go for a long time. So that's definitely got to go in the bag. I've got a brand new turbo flame lighter filled up in the back of the vehicle, and I carry one indoors with my cigars. But to have one dedicated for the bag, I will get one ordered, filled up, and put in the bag. All right, because when it's really windy, that will light a fire. Okay, you know, matches and ferro rods, they're good, but when it's windy, you know, and you've got like fibrous materials blowing around, it's not easy. Okay, so the drink mixes, I've got a big bag of drink mixes with my food in the side rocket pouch of my bug out bag. Right, looking at that when I was out there, I'm going to take a lot of that out, a hell of a lot of it. Personally, for me, I drink 1 cup of very strong coffee every morning before I go, well, when I'm at work, and I drink water. I would probably drink about 1 cup of tea a day on average. That's it. So drinking tea in the field for me, If it's not like skimmed milk, which is what I like, that UHT stuff or powdered stuff or creamer, just don't really like it. So for that reason, the tea's going to go. As I say, I drink water a lot, and it's better for you. Okay, so water. I'm going to take some coffee, definitely, because I didn't have coffee in my bag. So that's got to go in there, as well as one of those little ultralight Java drip. Okay, I'm going to get one dedicated for the bag and keep one back for my overnighters and training. Alright, so that's going to go in, and a lot of the other stuff's going out, and soups as well. Winter time, you know, hot drink, I'm going to be keeping hot chocolate in there, it's a favourite, and soups. Okay, so hot chocolate, soup, the odd energy drink, and water and coffee. No tea. Alright, so the tea's gone, baby. The tea's out there. All them tea bags are gone. More space, obviously. What else is there? Yes, the some of you probably commented already about the silver reflective foil on my ground sheet, which I've decided to put the foil side down, and my survival mat I made the foil side down as well. To be honest, I didn't get cold, but I should imagine, thinking about it, you know, when you run the London Marathon here in the UK, when you finish, you're given a foil blanket and you wrap it around yourself. So I'm thinking, you know, that's to keep your body heat in you, so your muscles don't get cold and get cramped up. Okay, to keep your muscles warm. So it doesn't make any sense that you would put a foil blanket around yourself to suck all the heat out of you. All right. So next time I'm going to try the foil side up. Okay. Now I've tried full side up before. All right, and it works. I just thought I'd try it full side down, but next time I'm going to try it upwards to see if there is any notable difference, because at the moment it seems to be the same, which is very odd. Anyway, I don't want to get in a debate about that. We've got lots more on the list to go through. The video's gone on long enough as it is. Let me see, what else is there? Oh yes, the gloves. Now, from memory, on the side, right hand side pocket pouch, rocket pouch of my Bergen is my hat, similar to this, sealed up in a bag so I can get to it quick. Now what I think I should do is, on the other side rocket pouch, is put my gloves. Easily accessible, okay, because a lot of the time, really, when you think about it, you're going to need access to your hat and gloves quite quick. If the temperature drops, you've got to nip off and quickly get some firewood prepared, rather than get all of your kit out of your backpack with your Bergen, find your bloody gloves, put it all back in. It's quicker to get them quick at hand. Alright, so I'm going to make sure that when I repack it, alright, everything's all being washed. It's an number one rule: as soon as you finish doing an overnight camp, I know most people would be tired or whatever, but if you've got time, get your admin done, get it all out of the way, get all of your cooked stuff washed up, dried, cleaned, all of the soot taken off your pots, all of your dirty clothes chuck on the wash, etc. But for God's sake, don't give your wife woolen socks to wash, because she will ruin them. I've got 3 pairs of Bridgedales ruined by my wife, and as you know, they're very expensive socks. So lesson learned there. What else is there? Use detachable bungees for the shelter. Now the idea I got for the shelter was off of Paul Shovel-Recce, as I mentioned in the video, and I couldn't quite remember exactly word for word how he attached the 2 apex ends to the trees. Now all I done was I got a long length of 6mm bungee rope. I don't know, probably about 4 metres, but long enough to go around a big tree. That was why I made it long, okay? And put a bungee hook on the end to secure it. Now, as I say, I tied it to the shelter. So, in theory, when you do grab the middle of the basher and really pull it hard, and I mean you've got to pull it hard to get it out of the ground with those big long pegs, the 2 ends are still going to be attached to the tree. So, I did think of putting just regular bungees around there, okay? But it's still going to leave the same problem. You can't pull it out of the ground because it's attached to the 2 trees. You're going to have to attach them as well. I don't know what's quicker. I mean, I've been getting into knots, and I'm not sure what a knot's called, but you tie like a little loop on the leading piece of cord going to the tree, go around the tree, you run it through the loop, pull it tight, and just do a quick over knot, or whatever it's called, to secure it. It's some taut line hitch maybe, I don't know. But you can quick release those, and it's probably the same amount of time to release it than a bungee. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do next time. Probably try both. Alright, so that's a lesson learned. Alright, so moving along. Yeah, I've got binoculars in my Bergen. Okay, only a small pair. Doesn't have to be big. From a long time ago, when I was trained in camouflage and concealment, it was always cover-up lenses. Okay, anything. The sights in the rifle all the time. I'd scrim over them, etc. What a lesson I did pick up from one of the snipers years ago is he put a foot sock. Okay, just put it over the top of your binoculars, very small, lightweight, and it will stop the glint. All right. So if you're looking around for binoculars, and someone's out there trying to find you, and the sun hits your binoculars, you're pinged. Sorry, you're spotted straight away. They'll find you. So foot sock over the top will stop any reflection. So that's going to go in there with the binoculars. All right. Camouflage gloves. I'm still debating whether I should or whether I shouldn't. I've got a great big lovely pair of thermal leather gloves, as you saw in the video, and they're excellent. You know, they really keep the wind and the rain off. They're strong, you won't get splinters, and they will keep your hands nice and warm because this is a winter bag. Okay, the only problem is with those is the colour. I mean, obviously if it was dark green it'd be perfect. So I don't know, camouflage gloves, I'm still debating that one. But I guess it wouldn't do any harm putting them in the pack if I'm going on scouting missions or something like that. Might be worth doing. Pack a windshield with a stove. Yes, the nano box. Sorry, the firebox nano stove, the small one. Now my regular windshield is probably about the size of this, probably about a foot tall, so it's way too big. All right, so maybe there's a smaller windshield that will go around that little nano stove, which will stop the wind blowing all of the fuel around and shorten the burn time. So that's something I might look into. All right. So let's have a look through. Oh yes, source some heavy-duty, good, strong Sealy bags. As I mentioned in the video, this is a proper 72-hour bag. And because of the size and the weight, you have to admit luxuries. And for me, one of the luxuries is a pea bowl. It takes up a lot of room. You can't really pack anything inside it because the neck shortens down. So it's a bit of a bad idea to pack that because of the size it takes up. So discovering peeing in a Mountain House bag was excellent. It really works because you open it up, it stood up on its own on the floor, okay? And I could have done 2 peas in that and it filled it right up, and that would have been great for the night time. The last thing I want to do is to get out of your sleeping bag, you know, get wet, go and have a pee, and then get back. You know, just unzip your sleeping bag, roll over, open your little Sealy bag up, do your business, seal it up, zip your bag up, go back to sleep. Quick, simple, brilliant idea. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking for some Sealy bags. All right. If not, I'll just do what I've done before and use the Mountain House again. Okay. The fire lighting, yeah, that was a bit of an eye opener for me because, as I said, I'm no expert, and a lot of people have been doing this a lot longer than me. I'm learning like most people, and I focused too much of my attention to detail in preparation regarding the twigs and the fuel for the fire, but I completely forgot about the kindling tinder. So that was the birch bark. Now it's all well and good getting the birch bark like I did, putting it in my smock to dry out, and it was probably about 70% dry. There was still some wet bits on there, but on the whole it worked. A great idea, it really worked. But what I should have done in hindsight was to prepare some of the birch bark, was to tear it into very, very fine strips and get a big like bird's nest of strips of birch bark, rather than just rely on putting the sheets on there, because the sheets were quite thick. They're about 2mm thick and damp still. Okay, so for the little tiny flames to try and catch onto a great big piece of birch bark, on the video when I look back at it, it was clear that that needed sorting out. So next time I'm going to try loads of thin strips of birch bark. All right, definitely. And if I find some grass and it's not too bad, I'm going to get that in there as well and try and ruffle that up as well to get it all fluffed up ready for fire lighting. Yeah, and a side note, that's it now. Other than the bug out bag, is filming. Okay, some of us know when we film, especially in the woods at night time, it's very tricky because of the light. Now, I didn't want to give away my position too much, okay, because it was like a training exercise, and I did want to use my night vision as much as possible. But for filmmaking, you have no choice but to use bright lights. Okay, Now I use the Night 7000 lumen Coke can size. I think it's the TN36UT from memory. I'm not quite sure, but I used that. Put the batteries in there, put it in the Bergen, and guess what? When I took out the Bergen to use it, it was lit up great, and it was very warm. So it's been on there for a while. I'm not sure what setting it was turned on to, but it was on. So I literally had 10 seconds of light, and then the batteries are completely flat. My little trick, which I come up with a while ago, is to get batteries in devices, but store them reverse polarity so it doesn't drain any power or make the terminals get corroded. And that's been working fine. But with this particular Night torch, it's got reverse polarity protection. So it doesn't matter what way around you turn the batteries, it will always work. So I can't do that in there. So next time I'm going to be filming outside at night time, take my torch and my batteries separate and then put them together when I go to film them. Alright, so that's a big lesson learned as well. So maybe next time I do some overnighters, I'll remember that, and you guys will be able to see a lot more at night time, and the videos will be a bit longer. Alright, because not many people film at night time, but I do like to. So there's another wake up call. So I hope that's answered most of the questions, because the temptation was to do the 3-part series in one big long video and have this video on the end, and that would have made it like 2 hours plus, which is just too long. But what I feel is going to happen is people are going to watch 1, 2, 3 or any of the videos, do all of the comments which are going to be answered in this video. Alright, so in a sense what I might try and do is put a link to this video on each of the 3 in the description box. So if anyone wants to comment on those videos, it is advisable if you've got time to watch this before commenting, but it may be too late, who knows. But I just wanted to put this out there to give anyone else any ideas from what they took from the videos and what I mentioned in this video about correcting some mistakes and additions. And hence the debrief, that's what it's called. It's debriefed the three videos. So I hope it's helped. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Stay funky.